Hello everyone and welcome back. Happy Halloween. This is my Halloween episode of Knit and Spin with Brie. It's also episode 11. Wow, I've been kind of a busy bee today. I published 2 other videos. My spinning video is finally out. I did another spinning video and I added that one in there too from the fiber swap that me and Magda did from Magda Knits. And why do I keep saying me and Magda? It's Magda and I know, I'm poor English. Anyway, so we had done a fiber swap and and we did like a spin along, and we just so happened to publish on the same day of our finished yarns / like what we did. So we both did pretty well, I think. And I love how hers turned out. Check out my video if you haven't seen it yet. It's called Another Spinning Episode. So the first spinning one, I said the spinning episode because I had been saying for like the entire time I'd been doing this podcast that I was going to make a like spin with me. And it's been like 2 months and I still hadn't done it. I filmed all of it and I just hadn't put it together. I hadn't filmed the conclusion or anything. Finally did that. Got it posted. And I'm really happy with it. I love how it turned out. I formatted it differently. I actually used the MacBook iMovie software as opposed to my iPad iMovie software to edit, and I'm thinking I kind of like the iMac or the MacBook a little bit better. You have a little bit more options available as long as you know how to use it. It's daunting when you go through the transition because it seems like iMovie on a mobile device seems so like more straightforward. Yes, you're more limited, but it's very straightforward. But with the MacBook, it's like you have to know all the shortcut keys, and I figured it out. And I do like how it works up now and how I can do like picture in picture. And I can be able to and over here I'll insert a little image. How I'm able to do that but still have me on the screen and like do cutaways and stuff like that. So I'm happy to learn how to do that now. So let's get into it. So actually, please comment down below if you can guess what I have dressed up as for Halloween. No, it is not Laura Croft. I have gotten that so many years in a row because I do dress sort of similarly every year, but they're all different characters from my favorite book series. So last year I was dressed up. I'm kind of going in an order from a book series that I read and I absolutely love it. And I just so happen to have the hair for the next character. So this year, I dressed up as her this time, and I will reveal at the end who I'm dressed up as. Okay, let's get into it. I don't have too much because I have been, in terms of knitting, because I think I did spinning last episode. I did do spinning last episode. I don't have that much in terms of knitting this time just because I have literally day and night, except for when I'm at work, been working on producing my pattern for the Alpaca My Knit Mitts. So let me grab the other ones. Okay, so I had made, let me move my hair out of the mic. I made these ones, and I had asked you guys, would you guys like to see me write a pattern for my and I was going to call it Alpaca My Knit Mitts. And I'm totally on a fingerless mitt kick recently. And they're just so fast, really fun, easy to do. So I made these and I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a pattern for it. And I mean, there wasn't so much traction with responses on if you guys wanted me to make. I realize that not a whole lot of people watch me or, watch my podcast or follow me on Instagram and are a little less or disinterested or like, oh, it's just this girl or whatever, which is a little bit disheartening. I feel like I am from now on, I'm not going to care anymore. I have literally been sitting there watching my subscriber count go up and down constantly. Like I'll gain 4, but then I'll lose 10. Like it's really stressful and annoying trying to promote my business and trying to just get, more out there, but then also trying to grow my friendships, which I have my main friendships. Like I've gotten so many friendships from doing this, and that's the main reason. That's the big plus. Like I should not get down on myself about losing subscribers. I shouldn't care. Like, so what? They don't want to watch me anymore. Whatever. But I really love that I do have my main people that watch everything that I put out, and they continue to keep coming back, and they continue to send comments. They are literally like my bread and butter, and they are the sweetest people, and I am so happy for my relationships with them. So thank you so much. I will name a lot of you a little bit later, but back to my pattern. Sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. I made these and I absolutely loved them. I'm like, I'm going to make a pattern, and I've just been, there's so much that goes into making a pattern, making it look nice, making it look like readable, but also translatable to beginners and not be like so hand-holdy for experienced knitters. That's really hard. Like it's hard to cater to beginner knitters and advanced knitters, because I'm trying to make my pattern not obnoxiously wordy and like step-by-step instructions, but also I kind of want that step-by-step if anyone like my mom-in-law needs that. So I've sent it off to a tech editor. I've finished editing it myself or looking at it myself before I like go bonkers, and I have now sent it to a professional tech editor, and she is going to look at it, and I'm so happy that I found her. And I'm pretty sure we're completely on opposite schedules, because she lives either in Australia or somewhere that's very far ahead in time, because I won't get her responses until like super, super early in the morning, and she won't see my responses until like I'm already asleep. So I definitely think that we live in different hemispheres. Not hemispheres. Crazy different time zones. I think that's what it is. So we don't get each other's responses until a day later. But she is so excited to actually work with my pattern, and she got to take a look at it because I sent her the document, and she was like, I'm really impressed with your layout already. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm really trying to make it look aesthetically pleasing to the eye before, like, I want to make it as finished and polished as possible because I want to like actually publish this, like send out the testnet and everything and have the testnet be over and published by mid-November. I know. It's the 1st tomorrow. It's Halloween today. I'm recording this on Halloween today. I'm going to publish this tomorrow. But yeah, I think it's a little bit maybe, but she said that she's going to have her edits back to me by November the 4th. So if I can get the testnet call out by November 7th, which is my oldest Doodle's birthday, I can do it for a full week, do the testnet for a full week, and then, because they don't take that much time. They really don't. So hopefully by the weekend after that, I will have everything ready to launch. We'll see. I also reached out to okay, I hate that I'm like super slouchy in all of these. I reached out to a bag maker, a project bag maker, and one that Fernanda, God, I'm just so like, blah. So I had an idea for my pattern launch. I wanted to make kits and have like a full like project bag, stitch markers and everything for this kit. So I reached out to my friend Fernanda at the Little Monkeys and Me podcast on Instagram. I'm like, hey, do you know of any project bag makers that would want to collaborate with me on making a kit, like a bag with yarn and a kit for my pattern that I'm going to be hopefully launching mid-November? And she came back with a name, and I reached out to her. She has not responded yet, so I don't want to say the name in case it falls through, because that would be sad. But fingers crossed that she is down for the idea. And I actually had an idea to send her all like my hand woven fabric that I've made, and she would then use that as like a piece of the bag. I thought that would be really cool. So yeah, I'm excited. I have actually since tweaked this pattern to look a little bit differently. So in the alpaca motif that I had come up with, the alpacas are like kissing. So I figured that the floats were really long in that motif, and I didn't want it to be too cumbersome to have to catch your floats and all of that, so I had changed it to where they're all facing one direction, which means that your floats never go past 5 stitches in length, which is like a typical, if you have a colorwork pattern that has the floats being longer than 5 stitches, I would typically catch my float at some point. But 5 stitches across is like, it's not that big of a deal. So I had changed it to where they're all facing in one direction. And then I also did like a slip stitch detailing on the inside edge of the cuff right here. And then there isn't one, oh, I guess, no, that's an alpaca. For the alpaca motif, I didn't do it. I stopped doing the slip stitch detail, and then I wanted to kind of frame the thumb gusset with a slip stitch of the contrast color, just because the patterning on the thumb is different than the patterning on the hand. Because this one is like an offset lice stitch, and on this they're all stacked up on each other, so in columns and rows. So I kind of want to have a little bit of separation, because on this it doesn't look bad, but I don't know, I just kind of wanted it a little bit different. So that's what I did. So I have these slip stitches that are sort of outlining the thumb increases and the thumb gusset. And then I continued it all the way up to the top ribbing. And I actually knit these on 3mm needles and then the cuffs on 2.75mm needles. The gauge was too large. Like, these are really, really big. So I wanted to switch or go down needle sizes because this one was really big. So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to switch down to like a 2.5mm. That was too much. So I did on this one, I did a 2.75, or not, sorry, a 2.25mm on the cuffs, and then a 2.5mm on the rest of the mitt. And this one has more stitch count than this one. So obviously the gauge got way too tight on this mitt, because this was technically, for the stitch count on this one, I was supposed to be like an extra large. No, this like is tight on my hand, and I would say my hand's like a medium. So yeah, I'm like, okay, no, that's not gonna work. So I switched the gauge to a 2.5mm for the cuffs, and then you go up in needle size to a 2.75mm needle for the color work and the main body of the glove and the thumb and all of that. And I really did like the fit of those ones. Unfortunately, I cannot show you those ones because I already gave them to my mother-in-law because they were for her. And I still have to take like really nice modeled pattern photos for it. And we were supposed to do that yesterday when I was over at her house. And we didn't because, you know, got sidetracked. We were wrangling her show herd. So all of her show alpacas that went this past weekend to a show up in Grass Valley, and they swept. Like, she came home with like a 50-gallon garbage bag filled of freaking blue ribbons, and then a bunch of awards on top of that. She's like, oh, you know, I don't think that my stuff is good enough. And it's like, you literally, people want to be you in the alpaca world. So she swept, and we got busy wrangling up her show herd to put coats on them so that their fleece stays really nice. And some of them don't like being caught. Do not like being caught. So there's a lot of chasing and running around. But so I did take a picture. I posted on Instagram. So I'll put a picture of them right here. And they fit her perfectly. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about the pattern launch. Please be on the lookout for the test knit call. I'm very hoping to put that out on the 5th or the 6th this coming week. So keep your eyes peeled. Another, I guess I will go whips, because those are kind of finished objects, and I've just been nonstop working on my pattern, trying to get it complete as soon as possible. Okay, so this is, I got on a more like a Selbu mitten kind of kick too, and I'm really happy with these, but they have a naughty word on them. So if you are sensitive to curse words, look away, or I am very sorry, but I found these to be absolutely hilarious. So this is the back of the mitt. I haven't finished the thumb yet, but I had altered the pattern to have a gusset on the thumb instead of being a cut-in thumb or an afterthought thumb. So, because I like the color work on the thumb as well. And okay, so I'm going to show you the front. This pattern is from Drunk Girl Knits. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of these, but it's the How Cold Is It mitts. Okay, I'm going to show you guys. If you don't like naughty words, look away. I'm going to show you really quick. I loved how these turned out. And okay, you can look now. I won't show them again. I love how this is my first one, and I love how they turned out. They're too small for me. Sad. But they fit my mother-in-law perfectly, so I'm going to actually finish the second one and then give them to her. And they're made out of her alpaca yarn, so she's very happy with it. But they were just so funny, and I was kind of working on them at work, so having that chart up at work and then having like people come to my office and be like, "Oh, hey Brie, what you doing?" I'm like, nothing. Trying to get the chart down from my computer screen so that they're not like, "What the hell are you working on?" I do have downtime at work, so when I need to focus or when I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed at work, I, take a little break. I sit there and I knit a few rows on something just so I do not get burnt out, because sometimes my job can be very demanding. I don't know if I've ever said, but I work at a business consulting firm, and I am just in an office management department, so I don't do any of the consulting, but man, the customer service that is involved with this job, it's a lot of like, okay, we'll make magic work and make it happen. But it can be very stressful and burn-outy. So my next whip that I've actually been working on, I do have many whips that I have not been working on, period, so I won't show you those, but I went into working on my Plumeria tank again from Woolen Pine, and I have gotten to the second repeat section on the lace for the bottom, and it's actually going quite quickly now, but I've almost finished a skein, and I'm gonna have to connect another skein soon. It's upside down, and there's a bunch of ends that I need to weave in, but I'm waiting until it's done. But it's turning out really lovely. The lace motif pattern is so nice, and when it gets blocked, it's going to be so drapey, so flowy, and I will be so excited to wear it. Yay! So that was my Plumeria tank that I've been working on. I actually worked on it a little bit this afternoon. Dream knitting. I'm going to go into that because speaking of Woolen Pine, I did mention this in my second spinning episode, but I'm going to mention it again in case people are like not into that. I am going to make the Snow Pine pullover sweater from Woolen Pine that is not launched yet. There was a pre-order on the pattern, so I pre-ordered it. Oh, excuse me. So I pre-ordered it, and because it's just such an interesting pattern. Like it's color work, but it's not like there's no motifs or anything. It's a light stitch color work pattern, but it's in tarja because the raglan, it's like raglan construction, but the sleeves are a different color than your body and your back, or your front and your back. And then the light stitch is all over. So the construction is worked in the round, but flat. It's very contradictory, but I am down for it. I'm here for it. I've never done intarsia before, so I'm a little like, there's going to be so much yarn that needs to be attached to my work at once, which I've never had to deal with before. There's going to be 5 skeins attached to your work at one time because of the intarsia involved in the sleeves. So it's going to be a little bit, but oh my god, I'm yawning. But I'm very excited about getting it started. I'm going to be using my hand spun yarn. This is the hand spun that I had finished from the fiber braid that Magda had sent for me. And then this was the hand spun that I did from that one time at karaoke colorway that I had dyed in my fiber dyeing video. I spun it up, and they're both fingering weight, and I'm going to use these as my lace stitch throughout the sweater. So I am very excited to start that. I just have to dye up a main color. Oh my god, I need to stop yawning. Stop yawning. I just need to dye up a main color and contrasting color to go with this. For those. I'm excited about it. Okay, so that's dream knitting. I need to cast on a sock, I think. I need a little bit of a cleanse. And I think I still have enough of these to make like one more pair of colorwork socks. Because I made 2 pairs of colorwork socks with my hand spun, and then the handmaiden nori. The colorway is nori, but it's a 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon blend. But I think I could probably get away with doing one more pair of socks out of this. So I think I need to cast those on. I need kind of like a palette cleanser from all of the stress. I did do yarn dyeing since the last episode. Because I believe I showed my like fall mini skein sets. And thank you, Fernanda, for buying one. I was so happy that you bought one and you were so excited to get it. Thank you for buying one. And then I got on a like dyeing for Halloween. I know it is Halloween today, and since I have updated them onto my shop, my new Halloween colorways, no one's bought any, and no one will buy any after Halloween. But I had a lot of fun dyeing them, so I'm going to show you. This is my Halloween mini set of 5 20-gram mini skeins. Let me tell you the colorways because hopefully I can remember them all. So this one is, it looks very peachy on camera, but it's actually it's an orange. It's kind of a bright-ish orange. And I'm calling it Sugar Pie for Sugar Pie Pumpkins. This one is Spellbound, Zombie, Resting Witch Face, and Gravestone or Tombstone or Graveyard. I think I said Gravestone, but it's like a gray, dark gray. So I did these. I did So I have 5 of these in my shop. It'd be a really fun color work something. I know that Lolo Did It came out with like a Halloween cowl with very similar colors as the color work involved in that. So, and then I also did this one, and I call it Jackolantern. It's on my Saki Do base. It's just a 75-25 merino nylon blend of 437 yards. It's very soft. It's just a black-brown, or black and orange mixture. And I really like how this one turned out. It would be very interesting to see how it knits up. I might have to knit a sample because I think I did 4 of these. And while I was, oh my gosh, while I was dyeing the mini skeins for the Halloween colors, I did mohair as well. These are not in my shop, and I don't know if I'll put them in my shop because they're Halloween colors and it's now past the season for Halloween. So why put something up there when they're not going to sell this season at all? Unless you'd like to see them up there, because then I can. But currently I'm just like, no one's buying from me anyway. So I did mohair. And I love how all the colors turned out. I think they look so beautiful. And they'd be so fun to work with. But that's all of the dyeing that I've done. And we've already talked a little bit about spinning. I'm actually spinning up some of my Halloween fiber braids that I had gotten from my October Paradise Fibers Fiber of the Month subscription box. So yeah. Oh, I don't, did I? One second. So Magda, on top of the fiber braid that she sent to me, which I loved, she also sent me this skein of yarn that she naturally dyed with onion skins. And it's like the most beautiful Aztec gold that I have seen. And I really want to like incorporate this with something, but I'm just not sure what yet. But it's also very soft. I think it's 100%, or is it 100% merino, non-superwash merino? I don't know. But it's soft. It's really nice. And sometimes naturally dyed things can be a little bit, they can feel like they have like a film on them. Because I've naturally dyed a lot of skeins way before I started doing this podcast, and I used like black beans and beets, and like I was doing some naturally dyed stuff because apparently people really like that, but it's pretty labor intensive and you don't get what you put into it. Personally, I don't think you do. So it's not worth it for me to naturally dye anything. And it's a little less fun. You don't get as vibrant of colors. But there are natural dyers out there that get every freaking color under the rainbow. And I don't know how they do it, but they do. So, but good for them. It's not really my thing. I'm going to stick with acid dyes because they're fun to use. So yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but stay posted. I will share what I will be making with this soon-ish. Ooh, actually, Laura from Penrose Knits has come out with her school run like accessory set of mittens and hat. I might make her mitts with this because I think that would be super cute. I might do that. Cool. That's a good idea. What else? I don't think I really have anything else, knit-wise, but we can move on into life things. I know I didn't talk about life last time, but I will this time because I do have some things that are nice that happened this time instead of last time where I would just like, life's crap right now, but so we're not going to talk about it. Life's still kind of crazy right now, but there was fun things that happened. I'm going to put in a video right here. Actually, no, I'm actually literally going to put in a video. I'm not going to do a screen like thing right here, or like a cutaway or anything. I'm just going to insert a video of me and my sister, my twin sister. I know you guys have never seen her before. My twin sister Brooke, we went to my dad's house last weekend and we cooked down pumpkins. We cook them down because we use sugar pie pumpkins to make pumpkin pie for every holiday season. And we do them so early because October is pumpkin season. So every time we've tried to find sugar pie pumpkins after Halloween, they're gone or bad. So if you ever want to make homemade pumpkin pie with actual pumpkins and not canned, go to, I don't even know if Whole Foods has it, but like there's Sprouts, a farmer's market might have them, a vegetable stand might have them. Safeway does sell them. They're really expensive though. But yeah, we go and we purchase sugar pie pumpkins. That is what they are called. Or sometimes they're called sweetie pie pumpkins. And those are specifically for pumpkin pie because of the sugar content that are naturally in them, in this squash or gourd. And that's what we did. I'm going to put it in right now. Hello. We're cooking pumpkins today.
Oh, I look fat.
No, you don't.
Ugh. Camera really does add 10 pounds.
My twin sister Brooke. I've talked about her before. And yes, we don't look that similar, but
I look horrible in this.
I look horrible. I'm not. You're at least looking nicer. So we're cooking pumpkins. Here's all the guts. Oh, you can't see it. You can't see it?
No.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, I'm going to flip the camera around. So, Brooke, would you like to explain why we do this?
Why we do this?
Yes.
What do you mean, why? Because it's better than canned pumpkin?
What do we use the pumpkin for? Let's just say that.
Pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
And we use it for, like, just... Because it just makes pumpkin puree, so... We use it for, like... I don't know, you can mix it in with stuff and...
We make this cheese Danish thing for breakfast every year for Christmas and holidays. And it's like this giant cheese Danish. And sometimes we mix in pumpkin, pureed pumpkin.
Might know what cheese stolen is.
Well, the German ones, yeah. Because it's cheese stolen. Stolen. So these bake for about, until they're soft, so 1 to 2 hours.
3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, I literally don't even set a timer.
And we're not keeping the seeds because that's gross. So they've been baking for a very long time now, and now we just peel off the rind. Skinned.
Because you use the rind.
Well, yes. You use the meat.
The pumpkin meat.
For some people, it's
That sounds so gross. The meat.
Yeah,
The pumpkin.
It looks like you were asking like
The
how's it going.
pumpkin
It's a weird. It was a very weird change.
What we do is we peel off all of the skin and then we pulverize it in a food processor.
And
Blender,
so like programming is very easy.
Or a blender.
Sit there,
And
you get you resolve some tasks, you stuff, and the end of the day you pull it. You're like, okay,
and then
I
we
got
double
rid of
roast
all
it.
these
We
tasks.
put it back in the oven
Now because you're
to
meetings,
try
a lot
and
of times
release
you're
as much moisture as
now
possible.
you're checking some stuff in, and then meetings, and then the day.
It's just,
and
it
you're
keeps
finished with
focusing on your arm hair.
That's
awkward.
Your personal productivity is not really the factor here.
You know, someone told me that I could be an arm model.
The team is continuing to stay motivated and being productive.
And that's the part
Arm
I'm
hair.
having a hard time with. Yes, I'm gradually learning my style and what works. And what
Perfect for a
works.
waxing commercial.
But it's like I was even talking to my dad. I'm
Wow.
like, when am I supposed to work on stuff? He's like, what you do is you make sure everybody.
Okay. Wasn't that so fun? We didn't actually get to finish doing that. All we got to was scraping out the pumpkin meat. But normally we puree it and then we double roast it, which is something that I did today. So while we were me, my kids, and my husband, we went to my mother-in-law's house yesterday, and I was wrangling show kids, which are the show alpacas, to coat them and all of that. But both my boys went with their pop grandfather, my father-in-law, and he had grown sugar pie pumpkins himself for our holiday season this year. And they turned out a little bit interesting. That some of them were like really large, like not large, but they were the normal size of a sugar pie pumpkin, but they were still green. So I'm like, not sure how these are going to turn. And then there was like these teeny tiny little ones that were the normal coloring of a sugar pie pumpkin, but they were really small. I'm like, this is so weird. Like some of them, and it's all from the same plant, and some of them are really big, but they're still green. And then the other ones are really tiny, but they're like the bright coloring. So I cooked all those down today, and when I cut into one of the green ones, it smelled like cantaloupe. Like straight up cantaloupe or honeydew. It smelled like fruit, or melon. It did not smell like pumpkin at all, which was a little weird. It still smelled really sweet, but I was just like, this doesn't smell like squash, period. So I'm like, oh, I don't know how this is going to work out. I'll put in videos of everything, probably sped up, cutaways and stuff like that. And I cut them all up in like quarters or like sixths or something, depending, like wedges. Threw them in the oven for 1.5 hours at 375, and just let them roast. And you check them periodically to see how it's kind of like potatoes. If they're fork tender, so if you stick your knife in, it goes in easily, then they're good. If it's harder, then they're just still really starchy or whatever. So you're checking for that. Or if you've ever cooked squash before, like butternut squash or acorn squash and stuff like that, you want it to be palatable, or mush or your. So I let it roast for 1.5 hours. I pulled them out. I scraped the meat from the skin, and then put them in some 9x13 pans, and kind of like I used a whisk to kind of break up the meat a little bit more. Normally we puree it, then put it back to double roast, but I didn't want to get my blender out, so I just kind of mushed it with a whisk as best I could. Put it back in the oven at 375 for another 1.5 hours. And it cooked down and double roasted so nicely, and it smelled so good, and the color got, it was just, hold on, let me show you. Okay, I put it in the freezer because, you know, it's not Thanksgiving yet and I don't want it to go bad. Woo! But look how dark that roasted, especially because one of them literally looked like a cantaloupe on the inside and smelled like a cantaloupe. And oh, it smells so good. But yeah, so this will be pie eventually. But yeah, really, really pleased with it. And it's all organic, homegrown. I am so proud. And I sent a picture to my father-in-law. I'm just like, this is what you made. He was wowed. Don't really have anything else. I mean, I do have like personal things, like with my son with school stuff, but there hasn't been really a positive yet that I can be like, oh, you know, this happened, but it's getting resolved because it's still really hard. Something that the more I talk about it, the more frustrated I get with the school system and not being as helpful as they could for my son. But we're working on it. Hopefully it all works out. But so I won't go too much in depth in that. Drinking some wine, as per usual. I do record at night. It's not 9 a.m. in the morning. I'm not like, oh, not crazy like that, unless it's mimosas for breakfast or brunch. But I do want to personally thank some of my subscribers because they have consistently watched everything that I've put up. They have liked, commented on every video. They follow me on Instagram. They always like my posts. They comment on my posts. And I want to just thank them personally on here. I wrote them all down so that I wouldn't forget. Dana, you're amazing. Thank you so much for all of your support and your comments and everything. I'm so happy that we found each other. It's very nice. Thank you so much. Magda, my fiber BFF. Loved watching your episode today, by the way. Your colorwork socks, like, I'm obsessed. I'm surprised that you did them on Magic Loop though, because talk about dedication. That's a little bit challenging, especially with that intense of a colorwork pattern. I probably would have. I actually, 9-inch circular needles changed my life. I knit everything that's in a small circumference on 9-inch circular needles. I love them. The Chiagu brand. They are nice and sturdy, and they hurt a lot of people's hands because of the small circumference, but they work really nicely for me and I really enjoy them. And I know that you were talking about possibly getting a pair of the Shorties interchangeable sets of the Chiagu brand. So yeah, they changed my life. I would always work colorwork anything if it's a small circumference on 9-inch circulars. Those are like the bomb. Fernanda from Little Monkeys and Me. I know that we're a little bit more new. I mean, not that new in terms of friendship, but we just hit it off. We chat all the time on Instagram. I comment on everything that she posts practically because I have to. And she does the same for me, and she lives here in the States. And it's always so nice to, I mean, I have so many people, so many friends that live not in the States. So it's a little nice that, like, when I chat with Fernanda, I know that she's still awake. So thank you, Fernanda, for being such a great supporter and supportive of my channel. Alexandra from, oh my God, Fiberbound. She has also been such a great supporter of me and everything. And I love her podcast, Fiberbound. She lives in Australia. And the friendships that I've made through doing this podcast, regardless of subscriber count, I still have made, I feel, some lifelong friendships that I do not foresee me ever giving up on, especially with, you know, our connection through the fiber arts. It's fabulous. And I know one day we're all going to meet. We're all going to go to some sort of fiber festival or yarn festival. We're all going to meet in the same place. We're all going to have a great time. It's going to be so much fun. Yes, so I'm just very thankful. Thank you, Alexandra. I still don't know if you go by Allie or not. I know I've said that a few times. Called you Allie. But you've never corrected me. So I assume maybe some people call you Allie, but you typically introduce yourself as Alexandra. But let me know. And then there is my two Anns. So Anne from my North Knit Corner in Norway. You're the sweetest person. We have children that are the same age. Or her youngest is the same age as my youngest. Or thereabouts, I think. No. I can't. No. Her youngest is the same age as my oldest. That's what it was. Because her youngest just went into the first grade, and so did my son, my oldest son. And her recent episode, she had mentioned the yarn that I had sent to her, and she was just gushing about it, and I was just like blushing the whole time that I was watching. I'm like, you're just so nice. You're such a great person. So yeah, really enjoy her. And then Ann Dix. Both my Anns. Ann Dix, thank you so much for all of your support. I know for a fact that you've practically commented on every single one of my videos, and you always have just the kindest words to say, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, before I start blubbering, let's get to the reveal of who did I dress up as for Halloween. By the way, I did nothing for Halloween. Actually, I went to my sister's house, took my kids, and we went trick-or-treating in her apartment complex, which only took half an hour because practically no one was participating in their trick-or-treat thingy. That's COVID for you. Just no one's really. It's kind of a wash year, just like last year. But I still wanted to dress up for funsies. All right, so I dressed up as a character from one of my favorite book series from the Lunar Chronicles, and it wasn't last year. It was the year before. I dressed up as Cinder from the first book in the series, which is kind of like a futuristic take on Cinderella, and that's who I dressed up as. It was pretty awesome, I think. And then, I don't know if I have a good picture of me in my costume last year, or 2 years ago. But this year, I dressed up as Scarlet. In my mind, this is how Scarlet dresses. I mean, granted, she probably just has a regular red hoodie. So she's the Red Riding Hood character. But she would have just like a flat, like a red hoodie, not this heathered one from Tahoe Brewing Company. But she has like the red curly hair. My hair was a lot curlier earlier. Like I curled it and it was very voluminous. It's definitely fallen out a little bit because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So the humidity kind of got in there. So it kind of fell a little bit, but I still really like that I got the curly volume. And then she wears like bright red lipstick, but she's still very practical in what she wears. I wore my knee-high lace-up boots and then some army green pants, like cargo pants, and a black shirt that was tucked in with a belt. Because in this series, she is a farmer. And she does a bunch of like food deliveries to restaurants and stuff. And this is just what she wears. If you have never read this series before, I strongly recommend it. It is on Audible, and the narrators are actually quite pleasant to listen to. There are some of the books that I have read in the past that I'm just like, oh, I wonder if they have it on Audible. And I look and I'm just like, the narration is so grating. I can't listen to it. There are those. But this one is actually very pleasant to listen to. The series. So on the back you can see that it's a 6-book series, and I think next year I'm going to be Cress, who is the Rapunzel character. Really, really good. Really good, I have to say. I actually kind of want to re-listen to them because I have them all on Audible as well. But I had to have the paperback books too. It's really unfortunate because at one point I was able to knit without looking and I could read at the same time. But now that I'm doing a lot more like colorwork stuff and like lacework stuff, I have to kind of concentrate on that, but I could still listen to things. So that's why Audible is an amazing thing to be able to listen to your favorite books. So yeah. Ooh, I just had an idea. I could do like what are those called? Like a yarn club based on colorways from these books, because there are 6 of them and there's so many characters and they're all like fairy tale-ish. And I thought, oh, that would be so cool. Let me know. I know that, my main peeps will let me know, but if you're a new person coming, please comment. Tell me what you think. Like and subscribe. I think I should have said that earlier before the life stuff, because a lot of people, I think my average watch time is like 2 minutes, which is sad. But I do know that my main people watch all the way through. Thank you. Okay. I think I'm going to end it here. I'm going to edit all of this and put it up tomorrow on the 1st. And I hope that you guys all had, sorry, I'm really slouchy again. I hope you guys all had a happy Halloween, and I will catch you guys next time. Hopefully it will not be so long in between podcasts, but it was just crazy. So I will catch you guys next time.